Have you ever noticed that certain birds seem to disappear for a few weeks every year? The cardinal that came to your feeder every morning suddenly becomes harder to find. The goldfinches that once filled your garden with flashes of bright yellow seem to fade into the trees. The chickadees still visit now and then, but they seem quieter. The robins spend more time hidden in the grass and shrubs. Even the familiar songs that filled the early morning air begin to soften. For many people, this feels like a mystery. Where did they go? Why do healthy birds suddenly seem tired? Why do some birds look strangely dull, uneven, or different from the ones you remember seeing only a few weeks earlier? Why does your backyard feel quieter at nearly the same time every year? And what if the answer is not that the birds have left? What if they are still close by? What if they are hidden in the leaves, resting in the shade, and going through one of the most demanding transformations of their entire lives? Because somewhere near your home, perhaps in a tree outside your window, perhaps in a hedge along your yard, perhaps in the quiet corner of a garden you walk past every day, a bird may be rebuilding itself, not symbolically, literally, one feather at a time. This hidden process is called molting. At first, that may sound ordinary. Feathers fall out, new feathers grow back. Most people hear that and move on, but the truth is far more dramatic than it seems. For a bird, feathers are not decoration. They are survival equipment. They are the difference between warmth and cold, between flight and falling, between escape and danger, between a successful migration and a journey that becomes too difficult to finish. Every feather has a job. Some keep the bird warm through cold nights. Some shape the wings so air can lift the body. Some help the bird steer when it turns. Some protect the skin from rain, wind, and sunlight. Some help it blend into branches and grass. Others become bright signals during courtship season. A feather may look light and simple in your hand, but to a bird it is part of a living machine refined by millions of years. And like all important tools, feathers wear out. Sun weakens them. Wind bends them. Rain breaks them down. Dust and dirt reduce their performance. Thousands of flights leave tiny marks. Every landing, every escape, every storm, every chase, every cold morning slowly takes something from them. By the end of a long season, many feathers are no longer working as well as they should. A bird cannot keep using damaged feathers forever. Sooner or later, they must be replaced. That is when the transformation begins. One feather loosens, another follows, a new one grows in its place. At first you may not notice anything at all, but inside the bird, energy begins moving in a new direction. Protein, minerals, and nutrients gathered from countless meals are redirected toward the creation of fresh feathers. This is not cheap for the body. Growing feathers requires serious resources. In many birds, molting can demand nearly as much energy as raising young. Sometimes it can feel like the second great challenge of the year. First comes nesting, then comes rebuilding. Imagine trying to replace part of your own body while still needing to find food, avoid danger, stay warm, and survive every day. That is what birds are doing. They cannot stop life during molt. They cannot tell predators to wait. They cannot ask storms to pass by. They must keep living while their bodies are under construction. And that is why this season can make birds seem so different. They become quieter, more cautious, less willing to take risks. Many spend more time hidden inside thick leaves or deep shrubs. Some visit feeders less often. Others appear briefly and vanish again. To us, it may look like absence. To them, it is strategy. A bird growing new feathers is often more vulnerable than it appears. New feathers start as delicate structures known as pin feathers. They contain blood vessels while they are developing. They can be sensitive. They can be damaged. A rough landing, a fight with another bird, or careless preening can harm a feather before it is ready. So birds behave carefully. They move with more purpose. They avoid unnecessary conflict. They conserve strength. They choose cover. They reduce anything that draws attention. This is one reason late summer and early fall can feel strangely quiet. The birds are not always gone. Often they are simply not announcing themselves. Earlier in the year, singing has a purpose. Songs attract mates. Songs defend territory. Songs tell rivals that a strong bird is present. But during molt, priorities change. Energy becomes precious. A loud song can reveal location. A bold display can invite trouble. So many birds become less vocal. The morning chorus fades. The yard feels still, and the secret work continues behind the leaves. Flight itself can also become more difficult. Every wing feather has a precise role. Each one helps create lift, balance, and control. When feathers are missing or growing back, the wing may not perform perfectly. A bird can still fly, but flight may take more effort. Turns may be less sharp. Escapes may be slower. Long journeys may become more costly. Nature solves this problem in different ways. Many songbirds replace feathers gradually, only a few at a time. This allows them to keep flying while new feathers develop. The process takes longer, but it reduces danger. Other birds follow a much more dramatic strategy. Certain ducks, geese, and water birds lose their main flight feathers at nearly the same time. For a short period, they cannot fly at all. Think about that. A creature built for the air enters a season when the sky is temporarily out of reach. During that time, these birds search for safer wetlands, sheltered ponds, and places where food and cover are nearby. They become careful because they must. Their future depends on surviving the weeks when their wings are not ready. And then, slowly, the new feathers grow. The body restores what was lost. The wings become whole again. The bird returns to the air. Perhaps no backyard bird shows the beauty of this process more clearly than the American goldfinch. In spring and summer, the male goldfinch can look almost electric. Bright yellow, black cap, sharp contrast, a living spark of sunlight moving through the garden. But later in the year, that brilliant appearance changes. The yellow becomes softer. The bold contrast fades. The bird takes on a quieter winter look. Many people see it and think they are looking at a different bird. But they are not. They are witnessing a wardrobe change created by molt. The same bird is still there. Only the outer story has changed. This is why goldfinches are such a powerful example. They remind us that birds are not fixed images. They are seasonal beings. Their bodies respond to time, light, breeding, survival, and weather. A bird you see in June may not look like the same bird in November, but both appearances belong to the same life. The bright colors of spring are not permanent. The quieter colors of winter are not a mistake. They are part of the cycle. And goldfinches are only one example. Cardinals renew their feathers. Blue jays replace worn plumage. Robins refresh the equipment that carries them through changing seasons. Sparrows, wrens, chickadees, doves, crows, and countless other birds all pass through some version of this hidden renewal. Some molt once a year, some molt twice, some change dramatically. Others change so subtly that you might never notice. But the process is always meaningful, because feathers are among the most remarkable structures in the natural world. A single feather is light enough to drift in the air, yet strong enough to help lift a living body. It can bend without breaking. It can interlock with neighboring feathers. It can be cleaned, aligned, and repaired through preening. It can trap warmth. It can shed water. It can create silence in the flight of an owl. It can display color bright enough to attract a mate. It can hide a bird so well that it disappears into bark, grass, or shadow. Now imagine replacing hundreds of them, sometimes thousands. Many small birds carry well over 1,000 feathers. Larger birds carry far more. A swan can have more than 25,000 feathers. When you understand that, molt no longer seems like a small event. It becomes one of the great construction projects of a bird's year, and all of it must be paid for with food. Every new feather is built from nutrients gathered one meal at a time. Seeds matter, berries matter, nectar matters. But insects can become especially valuable because they provide protein. Protein helps build strong feathers. This is one reason natural yards can become so important during molting season. A backyard with native plants often supports more insects. A garden with leaf litter may hold more small life. A yard with shrubs provides hiding places. A bird bath offers clean water for drinking and bathing. A feeder can provide extra energy when natural food becomes harder to find. To us, these things may seem simple. A few plants, a shallow dish of water, a safe corner, a quiet place without constant disturbance. But for a bird in molt, small resources can matter. They may help it conserve energy. They may help it avoid unnecessary travel. They may offer cover when it is trying to stay unseen. They may support the growth of feathers that will later carry it through winter, migration, or the next breeding season. That is the part many people miss. Molting does not only affect the present, it shapes the future. The feathers growing today may help a bird escape a predator months from now. They may help it cross a mountain range. They may help it survive a freezing night. They may help it return next spring to sing again in the same trees. A weak molt can have consequences. Poor nutrition can affect feather quality. Stress can make the process harder. Lack of cover can increase danger. A damaged or incomplete set of feathers can make every challenge more difficult. So when birds grow quiet, when they seem to vanish, when your yard feels less lively than it did in spring, it may not be a sign that nothing is happening. It may be the opposite. Something important is happening. Something hidden. Something slow. Something that determines whether beauty returns later. The next time you find a feather on the ground, pause before you throw it away. Look at it closely. Notice the shaft, the barbs, the delicate shape, the way something so light can hold so much purpose. That feather may be the discarded evidence of renewal, a sign that a bird nearby has let go of what no longer serves it, a small trace of a much larger transformation. We often notice nature when it performs for us, when birds sing, when flowers bloom, when wings flash through sunlight, when colors are bright enough to catch our eyes. But nature does some of its most important work quietly, inside shells, beneath soil, under bark, behind leaves, within the body of a bird that has gone silent for a few weeks, because it is preparing for everything that comes next. And perhaps that is why molting is so powerful. It is not just the replacement of feathers. It is a lesson in renewal, a reminder that survival sometimes requires retreat. That strength often begins in hidden places, that the most important changes are not always the loudest ones. A bird does not become new all at once. It changes feather by feather, meal by meal, day by day, until one morning it lifts from the branch with a body ready for the season ahead. And we may never know how much work happened before that moment. The cardinal returns brighter. The goldfinch changes with the light of the year. The chickadee keeps moving through winter branches. The robin appears again after weeks of quiet. And the world feels full of birds once more. But now you know what happened during the silence. They were not simply gone. They were rebuilding. They were preparing. They were becoming ready. The next time your backyard grows quiet in late summer, listen differently. The next time a familiar bird looks dull or uneven, look more carefully. The next time you find a feather near your porch or garden path, remember that it may be part of a story you almost missed, somewhere nearby. A bird may be growing the feathers that will carry it through cold nights, long flights, dangerous escapes, and the return of spring. And that is the secret transformation happening inside every bird. Not just a change in appearance, not just a biological routine, but one of nature's quiet promises. That what is worn can be replaced, that what is hidden can still be essential, and that renewal often begins long before anyone notices the result. Have you ever noticed birds becoming quieter or less colorful at certain times of the year? Have you ever found feathers in your yard and wondered where they came from? Did you ever watch a goldfinch change from bright yellow to soft winter brown and think it was a different bird? Tell me your story in the comments below. I read every comment, and some of the most fascinating observations come from people who simply take the time to watch the natural world around them. And if you would like to discover another hidden secret about the birds visiting your backyard, the next story is already waiting for you. Until then, keep looking closely, keep asking questions, and never stop paying attention to the small things.